Man,
Yeah.
it's windows. I love a breeze.
I love a good window.
Hey.
To the window, to the wall, as one great man once said.
I'm not a wall fan. but
Not
I'm
a
window
wall.
fan.
Walls are terrible.
A wall killed my father, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
Jamie,
wall.
can you look up a wall,
wall,
that killed his
yeah.
father?
It's crazy because as a man, like, women's should worship me. You feel me?
Wow.
Oh.
Like, man eat steak, pork, chitlin. Woman eat salad. That's just what it is. I want to watch football game, eat food. Women, they supposed to be loving us. You feel what I'm saying? Man.
Are you married by chance?
Nah, man, I ain't never had a girlfriend.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the reason why I haven't had one is because
It's not-
women's be tripping.
Yeah, I also think we've come to a stopping
I
point.
don't even look women in the eyes. Because I feel like if I look at one, it's going to turn me to stone.
What
Hey,
just
look-
happened?
Look, I think we're about to end
I
it.
ain't no misogynist. I ain't never gave out a massage in my entire life.
We're gonna end the podcast here. Thank you so much, little daddy. TJ, my best friend. Thank you so much.
Real men's fix car.
I
can't
don't know how
fix
to
a
fix
car.
car.
You can't fix no
I don't
car.
even have a car.
I am a car. I'm going to drive off right now. Whee!
All right, we're gonna go into an ad.
Hey, ladies, let's get into it. With the introduction of the new year, I know a lot of us are going to be out and about, especially for summer, and this is the perfect time to talk about the company you keep.
I deadass don't do group trips. I don't do girls trips. Every time I travel, I always travel with one person. That's my best friend. Because why I just came back from Cabo and one of the girls did not bring no bread to the trip.
Get money for food.
What do you mean? My bank account.
So where was this money this whole trip?
What are you talking about?
You had me pay for your bags, all of your bags. That's your other bag right there. Where like you ain't put in for nothing. You didn't pay for no Ubers.
I didn't plan this trip.
I invited you on a trip, but that means bring your own money.
Well, you didn't say that.
Like you over here, you could buy that meal, but you couldn't pay for no Ubers.
It was $18.
We couldn't even do the excursions because you talk about you didn't have no
You
money.
planned a trip for us, and then you expect me to pay?
It don't matter. At the end of the day, you don't have your own money. Like I'm confused. Why would you even want me to?
It's clear that I do.
Why would you want me to fly you out and you don't have your own money anyway?
You literally planned the trip.
Oh, you trying to whisper because there's people around? That's what you're trying to
Oh,
do?
because you're trying to embarrass me.
I mean, yeah, I'm putting this out there.
The broke one. This is a person who never really has good finances. They don't save or plan for anything. They kind of live paycheck to paycheck, and they always have to wait for their check to hit in order to do anything. They see everything you're doing, all the places you're going, and they can't exactly afford it. So they will try to attach themselves to you as a way to kind of get in. So you will be like, oh no, it's okay, I got it. But they'll quickly deplete you of resources because they never actually have anything. And when they do finally get money, they'll never invite you anywhere, or if they do invite you somewhere, they expect you to pay for your own.
Story time about how me and my friends took a trip to Atlanta and had to come back home the same day.
So I guess Miami ain't the only place that's ruining friendships, but let's get into it. So Michaela went on to say that back in 2021, her friend wanted to go to Atlanta for her 21st birthday. It was supposed to be Michaela, Michaela's friend, and Michaela's friend's little sister. They were planning on getting a rental car and an Airbnb, but then Michaela went on to say that something happened to where none of them could put either in their name, and so the friend's older cousin, who was in her 30s, offered to put everything in her name as long as she could also go on the trip. So Michaela, her friend's little sister, and the friend's older cousin are all on the phone talking about the trip one day when all of a sudden the older cousin starts talking about, oh, when we get out there, we're not doing all that drunk shit, so on and so forth. Michaela said it was at that point she realized that this might be an issue because that's exactly what her and her friends were planning on going out there to do. I think the exact word she used was, what makes you think a bunch of 21-year-olds aren't going to go out and get drunk? Michaela lets it go, time passes, and then everybody starts paying for their portion of the trip. The day of the trip comes, and then Michaela goes on to say that her money didn't post on her card like it was supposed to, and it wasn't going to post until the next day. Kayla claims that she had paid for her part of everything at that point except for the rental and the Airbnb, the two most important parts. The older cousin ends up telling Michaela that she'll just pay for everything on her card and she can just pay her back whenever her money posts. So they're headed to the airport. It's 56 minutes away from where Michaela lives, and Michaela said that the older cousin was taking her slow, sweet time getting them to the airport. You see, because Michaela, the friend, and the friend's little sister were flying Delta, but the older cousin was flying Spirit. And the older cousin's flight had been delayed, and so Michaela felt as though the older cousin was moving slow, trying to purposely make them miss their flights so she didn't have to stay at the airport by herself. They finally make it to the airport. They try to rush and make it to their flight, but they end up being too late and they miss it. That's when they decide to go to McDonald's while waiting for the next flight to arrive, but then they end up getting into it with one of the McDonald's workers. So at this point, the friend's little sister says that she's just going to have somebody come and pick her up because at this point, she's having a bad feeling about the trip. But they eventually convince the little sister to stay, and then the new flight arrives. Now, at this point, the older cousin's flight had already left, so she made it to Atlanta before anybody else. Michaela's assuming that since the older cousin's going to get there first, she's going to go ahead and get the rental, she's going to go ahead and get the Airbnb, so on and so forth. So their flight lands, the older cousin hasn't done shit. So they go get the rental, they finally make it to the Airbnb. They can't figure out how to get inside of the Airbnb at first, but they finally make it inside, they get their bags in, they finally start to settle down. Michaela says that her and her friends at this point are annoyed because they're tired and they're hungry. And then the cousin comes in the house and she ends up picking the biggest room, and she says it's because she's the oldest, but Michaela said that she felt as though the birthday girl should get the biggest room. Michaela gets annoyed. She ends up going into the room that she's staying in. She closes the door, but then she says that she hears the older cousin start talking shit about her. So Michaela walks out the bedroom into the hallway, and this is when Michaela drops the bomb on us that she's actually currently 15 weeks pregnant during this story time. She's like, who the F are you talking to? The cousin goes off and starts screaming like, I'm talking to you. You're walking around here with an attitude. You're slamming doors, so on and so forth. And Michaela says that she can slam a door if she wants to because she's grown AF. The cousin tells Michaela that she can get out the Airbnb, and Michaela tells the cousin that she can put her out. So the cousin gets annoyed, she grabs the keys to the Airbnb and the rental, and she leaves. So then they decide to smoke inside the Airbnb, even though they weren't supposed to, as like a form of revenge against the older cousin because it was in her name and she's going to be the one to have to pay the fee. The cousin eventually comes back with food, but she's only got food for herself, which sets Michaela off again. Then the cousin gets mad, asking them if they're smoking inside the house because she can smell it, and Michaela's like, yeah, we are. And so the cousin picks up the phone and calls 911. The cousin's on the phone with the cops telling them that Michaela, the friend, and the friend's little sister all have weapons and are trying to attack her, but Michaela claims that it was the cousin that was actually trying to attack her, and she says that the cousin was in her face telling her that she would beat the baby out of her. The friend ends up taking the rental keys from the older cousin. She tells Michaela and the little sister that they're leaving, but then Michaela and the little sister say they're not going anywhere. The older cousin follows the friend outside of the Airbnb. They tussle and fight over the keys, so on and so forth, a whole debacle. And then eventually, Michaela, the friend, and the little sister agree that they're just going to get an Uber and leave and try to find somewhere else to stay. So they're sitting outside on their bags. Eventually, the older cousin calls some family members or some friends or something and has them call Michaela, the friend, and the little sister to let them know that she said they could come back inside. But at that point, they were over it and they weren't going back in there. They eventually go to a Red Roof Inn and say that they're going to try to enjoy the rest of their trip, but they eventually decide to just go home because they feel as though the trip's been ruined because everything that they had originally planned to do, they couldn't do anymore. So they get in an Uber to head to the airport. Michaela says that she's scared of getting kidnapped, so she turns her GPS on to make sure that the driver's going in the right direction, but then she notices that he turns down this dark road. Michaela starts arguing with the driver. The driver claims that he's just taking a shortcut. Michaela says, well, the GPS is telling me that you're supposed to be going in a different direction. She ends up threatening to choke the man. He threatens to put them out the car. They're going back and forth, but then he eventually gets them to the airport and he drops them off. They end up having to sleep on their bags inside of the airport overnight. Now, Michaela's money finally posts, and instead of paying the cousin back for her portion of the rental in the Airbnb, she instead uses that money to book a ticket home. So during the flight home, Michaela decided that she wanted revenge against the cousin for threatening to beat the baby out of her, so Michaela, the friend, and the little sister all come up with a plan. So the flight lands back home. Michaela, the friend, and the little sister go and find the older cousin's car in the parking garage. Pop her tires, pour orange juice in her gas tank, kick in her dashboard, break her rearview mirrors, so on and so forth. A friend that they had called to pick them up from the airport was there, so when they got done with the vandalism, they got in that friend's car and they all left. So the cousin eventually makes it back home. She sees that her car is messed up, and Michaela says that the cousin was like hysterical and crying and super upset, but Michaela didn't feel bad because she felt as though that's what she deserved. And then she went on to make a follow-up video because people were criticizing her for drinking and smoking while 15 weeks pregnant, and she went on to say that she actually wasn't drinking and smoking and she can't even stand the smell of alcohol, and when she said we were going to smoke and drink, she didn't really mean we. Then she made another follow-up video because people were criticizing her for going on a trip when her money hadn't even posted yet, and she went on to say that her friend, nor the friend's little sister had any of their money until the day of the trip, and the only reason hers didn't post until the next day was because she didn't certify early enough or something. I don't know what that means. She said it was during the pandemic when they were all on unemployment and she certified late, and so her money didn't post until the day after, but she was not the only one who didn't have the money until the day of the trip. But that's the breakdown, you guys. Love you. Bye.
Lush Head Lisa and Felony Felicia, the Ratchet Pack. Now, typically, you can spot these women out on your day-to-day life. They have a bonnet on, their lips are purple from the copious amounts of trees they ingest on a regular basis. They're probably wearing something inappropriate in the worst place possible. Typically, it's pajamas, but sometimes they will put on clothes. I mean, you kind of get the gist when you're out and about and you see one of these. But we're not talking about the stereotypical ratchet. We're talking about the business classy ratchet. This is the one I call the Jackie Ina. They present very well. They have the makeup done, hair done, nails done. Everything looks well. They look like they have their life in order. They speak very well. They present themselves very well. But you don't know that there's a little something deep down inside until you have already gone out and about with this person. They get a little bit of alcohol in their system and then all hell breaks loose. This is the type of woman where even if she doesn't drink, once you have gone out with her after a work setting, you start to see those hidden issues, if you will. You think everything's all good, and somehow, some way, she's finding an issue with something. You don't really know what's wrong because she's not really expressing herself properly, but there's something wrong. These are the ones who will later on confront you, and they'll say like, oh, I was looking at that guy and he went after her because she's light skinned, or you knew I wanted to talk to him but you just had to have the attention because you're light skinned, or I feel like you said this thing and it was like a microaggression because I'm not light skinned. It's always something like that. If you're not careful, that one will be your biggest hitter archetype. Okay, she spent her entire time at the job trying to get you to hang out because you two are kind of on a different other level than all the other women there, and then she turns out to be the worst person imaginable. Now, all the women who she claimed to hate at the job or at school, she suddenly is cool with, and it's just a whole lot of. You definitely want to look out for that this summer.
First of all, I don't get into all these titles. I stand up for what's right. I don't get into Republican, Democrat, liberal, socialist.
You cannot get into
I stand for what's right.
You cannot
Women
get into it, but I
should
like to
not be
people that
in.
align
I'm
with
sorry,
you.
men should not be in the women's bathroom.
I
don't give a fuck if you're liberal,
you need a title,
Republican,
you need
Democrat, blue, white, green.
Anyway, Republican. But
Okay.
you need a title so you can understand who you align yourself with. That's the point.
Okay,
The same way how we could all have the same.
So if you're
color.
saying that you are a Democrat,
I'm saying I'm a socialist.
I'm sorry, you're saying you're a socialist and you're calling me a Republican. I never put that on myself.
You didn't have to.
You're calling me a Republican.
Put that on yourself.
So does that mean that
you
we're
act,
not equally yoked and that we shouldn't be friends anymore because you're a socialist and I'm a Democrat? Even though I think we both are human beings who want to stand for what's right.
I think you're putting it in a sense where I would think to myself, maybe we shouldn't be friends.
Okay, so we should.
Because you just put it
So
on
we
that.
shouldn't be friends because you're a socialist and I never once claimed to be a Republican. Anything.
No, but you have the same
You're putting
point.
titles on me all because I said one. I didn't know what non-binary
I would never
was.
talk to a person that I actively know listens to Charlie Kirk. I wouldn't.
He's dead.
Doesn't matter.
Sorry, rest in peace.
Listen, I would never. I'm sorry. I would.
So
never.
you would never be friends with someone who listens to Charlie Kirk?
No.
So if I said, oh, I would never want to be friends with you because you listen to Linkin Park.
Okay, then period.
That's crazy.
The psychopath. This type of personality trait can pop up in many different ways. They can be the crazy Christian type, and as a Christian, I myself have encountered them. They can be a Karen, they can be a pick-me or a femcel. They can be a crazy psycho-liberal who wants you to go protest. They could be a crazy psycho-Republican who thinks everything is peachy and perfect on the other side, and there is absolutely nothing wrong. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the race, doesn't matter the gender, but this person is an absolute psychopathic narcissist who will make an issue out of everything. What they do is they pinpoint one thing that they have a problem with, and then they just keep harping on it. And the issue is not whatever that they're complaining about. It's actually with you. They have an issue with you, but they're trying to go about it in a roundabout way. 9 times out of 10, it's jealousy, and they're feeling a lack somewhere in their life. Maybe they don't look as good. Maybe they're not doing as well on the job. Where I've personally encountered it the most is I'm a very happy-go-lucky type of person. And for some reason, that bothers a lot of people who are very miserable in their life. And they feel like, well, why is she so happy? What do you have to be happy about? Your joy irritates their inner demons. And now they have made it their life mission to hate you, even though you most likely don't know they exist. But sometimes some of them will pretend to be friends with you as a weird form of trying to destiny swap. They want to learn how to be you. It's almost like they want to become you and replace you. Personally, for me, this seems like the most dangerous person because you never know what's going to set them off. This is the type of person who will set you up to be harmed or beat up or robbed in some type of way. So with that, take care, enjoy your best damn lives, travel, do your things, start new journeys, and don't let a crusty femcel suck up all your energy. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
We waited a whole hour for this meal.
Tough.
We got macaroni and cheese.
You got what? Macaroni and cheese? My sister in Christ, they didn't give you either of those ingredients. Look, that's grilled chicken breast. They gave you 2 skinless ham hocks. They gave you 2 mutated Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster. You waited an hour for 2 macaroni fillets? 2 macaroni cutlets? And why does it look like half your plate has been eaten already? This isn't right. They're doing you terrible.
This is not a loaded baked potato.
That lady just lied to your face. This is not a loaded baked potato. This is potato with a load on it. They done unloaded all your potatoes and set them out. You moved on from this way too quickly. You let that lady gaslight you. This doesn't look like ranch or sour cream at all. You should have asked her to explain what the hell this is. Honestly, you should call the police. I'm contacting the council as we speak, and I'm going to escalate this case to the SVU department. Get out of that restaurant. You're not safe.